Well, I got it routed out. This is why you're supposed to hold those things with two hands, because when it catches, it goes blip, and it takes like not even half a second. And then to square up the edges here, just on the very corners, use the chisel just by hand pushing down in. I think I'm going to try and use, since I have these pieces, and since this is the same wood, I think I'm going to try and carve out a little section that's about the same color from one of these pieces and see if I can't fill that in. Okay, well that worked. I got a little piece. It fits, and you can barely see anything. So what I did was took this piece, found one that matched the grain, meaning, the white dots basically match the grain. Cut a little chip out with the coping saw and use the wire cutters to trim it to length, and it fit. And then used a little bit of the chisel as well. So now I just got to get it such that it's actually glued and stuck there versus just sitting, and then I'll be able to sand and move everything around, and it actually looks really good. In order to get the other piece of the hardware to line up, as I had mentioned, I put this piece in that slot, took a pencil, put graphite all over it, carefully set it in the right place, wiggled it back and forth, and now you can, well, you can sort of see right there, hopefully, maybe, sort of, kind of, a dot. That's where that goes. Another thing I'm going to try and do is I've turned the tape upside down, lined it up with two edges, and then when I set this on top, hopefully, if I did it right, the tape will stick, and that will give me the alignment. You can sort of, it depends on the angle. The graphite's very shiny and just right angle. Depending on if I get this right, the tape will stick and give me an alignment of where this piece is supposed to go. So that's next. The tape worked. I was able to line it up, and again, it's hard to see right there. Oh, that way you can see it. In the shadow you can see the graphite. And you can see when this lines up, it's in the same place. So the one thing that I have to do, since this is supposed to go on an actual door, there's actually a pin that goes down through the flat section that I want to use. You can sort of see that in the round section. So each set of these has two pins, or two pieces with a pin in, and two pieces that are just the flat. But I actually need to take this out. So as I found with this piece, because this is actually the set of pins, if I just put the vice grips on there, I can twist and rotate and carefully pull that out. It gets dinged up a little bit, but it's brass, and that's what happens with brass. But I don't need that. I just need these pieces. So as long as I don't damage that, which I didn't when I took this one off, then I now have two flat pieces with the hole that I need, and then I can get a piece of my brass rod, and, well, then it'll work. And after a lot of twisting back and forth, this came out. Now we have another one of those. And now we can also see, or at least I can, it probably doesn't show up on the video, but I can also see that the shiny spot where the pencil was does in fact line up with the hole. So since this tape lined up with the edge of that, this is where we need to do the next piece. So what I'll do next is I will add the rest of the tape around here and then set it up and route this one, hopefully without doing a ding like I did there. So that's what's next. Okay, the tape is all set. Next, do the routing part. And that worked. Now we have both sides in. The only remaining pieces for these two are drilling out the hole for the pin, cutting the pin, and then sorting out the screws. The one challenge with the lid, the screws are, shall we say, longer than the lid. So that means we have to appropriately drill the hole without going through, cut the screws off, and then things will actually work. This side we don't have to worry about because that's plenty deep enough to have the screws go down in and have extra, but this side we definitely have to make sure to cut it off, otherwise it will go through the lid. And needless to say, that's not desired. Alright, so I set up the drill press, taped up the drill bit after measuring to make sure it did not go through the top, and it did not go through the top. Drilled down in with the 3/16 because it's a 3/16 rod. Took the brass plate out, just carefully rotated it around with gentle pressure on the drill bit to drill the hole slightly bigger in the wood, because the wood expands and contracts, and plus just moving it's easier if it's just sitting there. Did the same thing on this side, put the pin in, and something cool. Assuming I can actually get this to work. It worked a minute ago. Lining up is the key. There's only a very small little hole, and of course it's not going to work because I am trying to take a picture. Oh, no. Let's see, so there, aha! And that's not a good way to show that. We'll try it this way. And it rotates, just like it's supposed to. Of course, it's not focusing correctly, but, well, can't have everything. But yeah, it sits. There's supposed to be a little bit of a gap because that way it'll actually rotate without hitting. And I'll work and adjust that a little bit with a little more sanding as well. But yeah, it works. Yay! So the previous one I had done in the corner. This one I did more in the center. Overall, I think the center may have been a better bet for this one. But yeah, I think it's going to work. Yay, progress. So now what I have to do is drill the holes for the screws, get the screws all sorted out, and also just do any other final sanding, edging, etc. And yeah, then put the tung oil on, and it's very close to done. So at this point, you can at least see, let's see if I can get it this way. Sure, should have done it that way. This way it goes right on. Well, it did. There we go. So yeah, progress. Alright, well this will be the last piece for now. I did put a light coat of the tung oil on. I still have to finish and get the hardware sorted. I did drill all the holes on both sides, but I still need to get a non-brass screw to put down in to get the threads going first. Because I really don't want to just screw the brass in. That will just tend to shred. Then I'll have even bigger mess. But yeah, it's getting there.